only male in town. That is so cool. And we're there just because I don't want to drive all the way up the room. Right, let's see, yeah. I don't have a very first too, so. Like it's like see it and. See this, oh, that's a lot. Yeah, we've seen Brian pass on that before. Sometimes I get that road. Shows them. That's the master. 80-foot road, we going into a 60-foot wide road. We don't fix that one. It stops. Doing good. Okay, it is 6 o'clock. We will go ahead and start. We want to welcome everybody to the Pleasant View Planning Commission, Thursday, April 16th, 2026. We would like to go ahead and start by asking Commissioner Bullenbrook to lead us in a pledge of allegiance and an opening prayer, reading, expression, or a thought. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our dear Father in heaven, we're grateful for this opportunity we have to be here tonight to this planning commission, and we're grateful for the citizens that come and support and voice their concerns and support for the city's initiatives. We ask the Heavenly Father for Thy Spirit to be with us tonight as we discuss these important items, and that we'll be able to have a good civil discussion. And we say this in the name of Jesus Christ, amen.
Thank you. Okay, our next item is a declaration of conflicts of interest. All of the commissioners have had a chance to review the agenda for tonight's meeting. Does anyone have any declaration that needs to be made at this time?
No.
Okay, hearing none, we will go ahead and move to item number 2, which is review and consideration of the Planning Commission meeting minutes prepared for November 6, 2025 and March 26, 2026. The commissioners have had a chance to read and give comments back to staff. Are there any other comments that need to be made at this time? Hearing none, we will go ahead and take a motion to approve the minutes as read.
Motion to approve the minutes.
Dean's made a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Jeff. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. There was a comment. We have an item number 3 and an item number 4. Are we still okay to go in that suggestion, or is there any reason? Are we okay from the audience, from those on 3 and 4, that we go in that? Or does anybody have a dire need for us to switch it around since it's this discussion?
I just had a quick question. Do we have outside of open hearings, do we have the opportunity for public input on what's going on just outside of the agenda?
These are not open as public hearings as tonight. We'll listen to discussion, see how it goes, and we may take comments if we have people that are visiting, but we'll see how the discussion goes at this time. Okay, we will go ahead and open up to item number 3. We have 15 minutes allotted for that. A developer discussion. So discussion of the West Village development. The presenter is Cecil Satterwhite and Satterwhite. If they're available, we go ahead. I don't know if we're turning staff, we're just turning the time over to them for discussion. Okay.
Yeah, thank you for having us on the agenda. And so we've had, this has been a long time planning, and we've had an open house here to go over this development. And we've made a lot of progress. This is a little more detailed plan. And some of the biggest things after our concept plan is storm drainage, ponds, and then the biggest thing is grading and getting Skyline Drive down through there. And so we've submitted a grading plan as well with this. But we wanted to bring this up, we brought it up to the city council Tuesday night. And we've met with the mayor and some of the council members. There's an opportunity with some projects going on that we've been approached, that we could maybe have someone come in and do the mass grading for Skyline Drive along with where the pit is, to take that material. If we do this on our own, it's gonna be years. And I know Skyline Drive is a priority. This, I think, is an opportunity, but it's an if still. But to do a grading plan, which we've already submitted, if this is an opportunity to use. Because to get Skyline Drive down through there, there's huge cuts. There's a lot of material that needs to be, just to make Skyline Drive work. So that was the discussion that we've had. We just want to bring it before the council and the commission. Just kind of, and I know there's different steps, so the direction I got from city council was to submit for a conditional use permit and a grading permit if this happens, and we're gonna go ahead and do that. If it doesn't happen, then see what goes from there, but any questions or?
I have a question. So I think one of the original discussion points of Skyline was an alternate route for some of those big trucks to be able to, gain access to Highway 89.
Right.
From what you're seeing so far, is that even feasible, or is that kind of something you see after you get through the grading plan and see what kind of slopes and all the things we're dealing with
Yeah,
over
so
there?
The grading plan will show the slopes, and we can't go over 12%. But it will be feasible once Skyline Drive is connected and improved. But an opportunity like this would get the rough grading done is a huge majority of it. And I know the city put it out to bid when they had that other alignment, and it was so expensive to move the material off, it just went away.
So I guess maybe along those same lines, is that still being kind of considered with that road with Skyline? Is that, as this is being looked at, is that something that's feasible for, big heavy laden trucks to come through that? I guess when I'm looking at this, and Commissioner Gosner brought this up, one point right there, there's a dead end where the road shifts. It appears like it looks like yeah.
Yeah, and this alignment was given to us through the city engineer,
Okay,
and so this isn't our alignment.
okay. And we have other city plans that show more of a roundabout right there.
And that can still be
Tweaked.
tweaked, yes.
Okay.
Not negotiated, but we want that. Skyline Drive has to work.
Yeah.
And it is steep, like that next corner coming around, there's gonna be big cuts just to make it safe, so it's not super steep.
Yeah, I'm just
But
saying,
I agree with you, because were those 3 roads stuck to the east? I think we will change that. We've already talked to our engineers on that. Cause I don't think we need those, probably drop that down to 2, but I'm in agreement with you. I think there needs to be maybe a roundabout there or something to that, and work with the city on that, cause it ultimately is, this came from where our starting point was the
the city.
alignment.
So I have a question. Because you're just asking right now if we'd entertain a special condition to allow the excavation of the drive, the
Correct.
potential drive area.
Yes,
Which doesn't lock us in, because up to this point, my understanding, and staff can correct me, these are just preliminary drawings. These are just purely, this is what, we have not seen this. This is not the plot plan. This is not
okay,
something that's come before us as an actual zone.
correct.
And
too.
so-
Right,
If I was approving this, it would be just for an excavation,
Right.
not for this layout, because
correct.
I still, this is me personally, because I haven't seen all the details with, have concerns over the density that's being proposed here.
Yep.
And that's not what we did in the general plan, so I just wanna make sure that,
Right.
that you don't get, we're at open discussion, that you don't say, hey, you guys are all for it. I'm
No,
for
this
the
is-
road,
This is. for
I'm
the
not
road
for the
and-
layout.
And the grading plan. But I just wanna throw on the layout thing, we have spent a lot of money with planners. We had an open house right here last summer with this layout. And I know there's a lot of tweaks to do, but I hate to come back 5 different times and get, okay, now change the whole thing. But I'm gonna step back right now. This is for Skyline Drive basically, because it's the key. Design on Skyline Drive is the key. If we can do this, and we'll work with the city through all the rest, it will be done in phases. It's still a long-term project.
And this tonight, just as a reminder, this tonight isn't approving anything.
No,
This is just discussion
yes, and I probably,
to, you know,
Take
these
this-
plans are concept, the whole idea is concept right now at this point.
And that's
But
why,
it is important
Well,
for
that-
the city, to the city to get
and,
the skyline.
and I'm for the road, and I appreciate, that's why I'm just making sure, one, that is, I don't want you to think that we
no.
would do
we
anything other
understand
than a
that.
discussion, that if you came
Yes.
back, we would be interested in the road. Doesn't mean that we're saying, yeah, I like the layout, but my problems I still have with it is that's not RE20, right? That's,
Yeah,
that end
and
is
that was-
is
that-
And I
nowhere,
wanted-
nowhere near that.
I was gonna confirm with just if I was behind or not, but I understand general use plan has not been changed in this area since 2019.
No,
The-
we had it changed.
The
Yeah, we
general
changed it.
Was approved, last year.
So that's not updated in our
for
maps.
medium- or For low density.
Okay,
And
So it'd
and
be
that
RE20.
has been our
that's not,
discussions and,
that's not, a-
we've had meetings and meetings and there's really not an ordinance that the city has to allow for this that works just right for a mixed use. Overall density is still.
So it still needs to be worked out.
But
So,
this is, yes,
well, I'm just saying this,
Yes.
I'm making sure everybody knows, we're not approving anything, we're not,
Right.
suggesting that it is what
a
we
lot
want to
of
do.
work still needs.
Still a lot of work to
Yes.
decide, and that's why I'm pointing out, this is just to say, we would be interested in a road being
Yes.
cut, but that does not say we're saying let type of density or layout take place.
No,
So,
we understand.
because-
That's
again,
still
from my understanding,
in the future.
general use plan, so this area is R20 under general use plan. That's not updated on our map on the thing.
Well,
And
the
then zone-
designation is low density, I think is what it.
We had, right now,
Which would be
what I
RE20.
picked up was,
RE20.
what I picked up was rural residential, 5 units per acre, rural residential 2, and then residential 2 to 3 on what? But then zoning is currently A5 and A2.
Yeah,
in
but,
that
but
area.
we changed, the zone is, yes,
The zone.
the zone is
Zone has
not
not been
changed.
changed.
They would have to come back
The
and
general
propose a
plan
zone
has been
change.
changed.
General
We're
plan.
at
of
R20
RE20.
for the whole.
Yeah.
And the commercial area
But,
that's.
but this is not laid out as RE20.
Exactly.
And that's where I want to make sure, I'm for the road, we want to look for opportunities to parallel that way, but I want to make sure,
Yes.
we've had people come in the past and take a misperception of discussion that's
We
taken.
still need to come through the zoning process.
Okay.
And that's what we've been working on with the city to do because we won't be just doing half acre lots. You could lay it out there and this is a better, in my mind, master plan, more open space, more room for trails, but that's another.
Okay, other questions on the road or
I
the
guess
thought
I do want to
discussions?
make one other point too. We have a gravel pit in the Weber County corner that we would like to annex into Pleasant View. But if we could do a grading plan, a lot of material would have to come out of that pit area too. So you're looking and that thing of closing down in a matter of 18 months, 2 years, and the Skyline Drive being roughed in for housing. So I think there's a lot of benefits. And then I think it also helps this materials go to projects for other roads that we're all gonna use.
Then I just express support for anything that gets Skyline Drive down that hill and across 89.
and over the railroad tracks, you know, it's kind of crucial to our development west of 89 as well. And I know, I know the city's been working with the railroad, and I guess that's been a little tricky to get across there. And yes, there's a lot of planning and stuff that goes in, but everything can take a lot of time, but I think this is an opportunity because since 2005, since I've started, so 21 years, and I've seen like 4 different alignments with Skyline Drive. Really, for us as developers, unless we can just use that as a gravel pit, it's gonna be hard for us to do that on our own in phases as housing.
It affects not only Pleasant View, but it's North Ogden, all the way from
Everywhere.
basically the entire road plan for the northern Weber County.
How many building lots do you have on this?
249 in 107 acres. So the overall density is about just over 2 per acre. So your R20, your overall density is just a pinch higher. And as we tweak it, we may not get that much, but we're aiming for about 250. A lot of them, it's all single family. Some of the smaller lots would be smaller, like patio type homes. And we will.
But they're not duplex,
No,
eightplexes, because
multi-
there was a
plan.
picture of the one that you showed that had.
Yes, but
Now,
as this plan shows, we don't have any multi-family.
Could you repeat the acreage one more time, please?
Say again?
The acreage, was the acreage again?
107,
107.
but that includes 30 acres in Weber County that we would ask, as we move forward with the zoning, we would ask the city if they would want to annex.
Any other questions for questions or thoughts or discussion items for the petitioner? I guess it's not even a petitioner, but a discussion item.
I like the efficient use of space. I mean, when you look at it, the density kind of throws you off. But I like the fact that they're getting the density right for the acreage, because we have to look at the whole thing. And
And-
it's more of a cluster development.
I like the fact we're talking of the road, doing the road. I will be interested to hear or see what the patio homes, like I say, one of the pictures or things that was brought in, it was,
And that will all be forthcoming.
and that
It will.
wouldn't interest me.
And I don't know if you have the grading plan.
I don't have it. in
No,
the packet.
Okay.
Well-
So, and so that should be available to the grading plan. It may be tweaked a little. But anyway, that's why we're here. We're with the city. We have to work hand in hand all the way. So we understand that. But this is one of those things that the opportunity arises. We hate to get held up on the grading because the key is Skyline Drive. It always has. Once that design is set, everything we do kind of spurs off of that. So.
Okay, thank you very
Thanks for
much.
your time and just
appreciate that.
And if you have my number, your questions, I'm pretty free to call or whatever, but you'll be seeing more of me, so.
Great,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for coming in.
Okay, we'd like to go ahead and we are gonna just to item number 4 at this time. Partly because of it was a discussion item. We will see a lot more of this. It will come up for staff. I encourage any of those in the audience, don't feel, please reach out to this city staff and send a letter of comments. So we'll be able to read those along the way. As he mentioned, this will probably be a big project. It'll be before the city council and the planning commission quite a bit before it moves along. Item number 4, excuse me, an administrative item, site plan, consideration of a site plan for a commercial flex use development located at 2747 North Parkland Boulevard. We'll go ahead and turn the time over to Tammy to introduce.
All right, so tonight we have before us an application for a site plan for a new developed site that's on Parkland Boulevard. This is proposed to be a 2-building complex with some flex space where, meaning just individual units that will have garage space as well as office or storefront space, kind of. We have gone through with the applicant and, in your packet is the review comments that that DRC has given to the applicant. And, there are some things that needed to be addressed that most of them have, I received new plans this morning that I believe most of the comments have been addressed, but we haven't had an opportunity yet to review those. So any approval would be based on, or would be contingent on these things being taken care of and final approval by DRC. There are two buildings, as I said. Building 1 is approximately 2925 square feet with 5 units? Now I'm questioning
4
myself.
units at 29,
4 units.
2 at 2130.
And then, the other building is 4,048 square feet unit, or for the total building, 2,130 square feet for 2 units and 1 unit that's 4,048 square feet. The other building had 4 units that were 2925. As I said, they have, garage roll-up doors as well as regular, office, retail space or office space. That is in the mixed commercial, manufacturing mixed commercial, zone allows for light manufacturing as well as general commercial uses. So these uses would be vetted out as they come in for application for business licenses or TIs or anything like that. We would be vetting out whether or not they're permitted or conditional use for each space. There's a little bit of yard space behind each of the units that they would each be able to access. We checked on the parking. The parking should be sufficient for the zone for any of the uses that would be going in. To the north of the one unit, let me pull up the site plan, that would be helpful. So there is some outdoor storage space to the north of this unit here. That will be, have the screening
It has
that's
to be
required.
screened in. Okay,
Mhm.
that's nice stuff.
Yep, that'll be screened. They'll have screening back here where it is up against the or the mobile home park. Because this is the Wasatch View Mobile Home Park. So, as I said, without the review of the newly submitted plans that we received this morning, it would all be contingent on those items being addressed. But as far as, vetting out the purpose of the building and everything, it matches with the zone requirements.
Okay, any questions for staff? Okay, can we have the petitioner come up and your name and address for the record, please?
Jordan Watson, 1634 West, 1850 North. Thank you, Tammy. Tammy, we put her through a lot on this one. There's just been a lot of back and forth with correcting some of the comments from staff and engineering, but I think we're really close. Like she said, 2 flex buildings. These are really geared towards servicing like small trades businesses that are either looking to expand or establish themselves in Pleasant View. Very consistent with the other buildings that are along Parkland, and I think in that entire Parkland Business Park project. And yeah, we those corrections that she mentioned, mostly with the screening on the fencing and making sure that the fence types meet the MCM code standards.
Question for you.
Sure.
And Tammy, I don't know if the fire marshal has had to review this, right? So it says there's a garage door on, is it the front and the back? And is, how wide is?
Correct. They're pull-through garages, and that's so that the tenants can access the individually fenced-in yard space on the rear. Those garages are 14 by 14.
Okay, so if I'm looking, is this part when you say behind it?
Yeah,
This just the road right here?
so it's actually this space here and this space here.
Okay, so this and this.
Yeah.
So how do you drive? Is it,
You
is
don't-
there,
You actually access any of the rear three sides except for the furthest north unit. The rest access, there's a garage here and a garage here on
Okay.
each unit to access it that way.
so it's a pull through
Yeah.
to that back. So this is just yard. Okay, I took,
Most of these, because of the size that we were dealing with, obviously it's a little bit of awkward shaped property. You can envision like a trades company maybe pulls their truck back or loads some material on and then goes out. They're not driving into these areas because there's not enough size to move.
that's what, and then what's the distance between this fence and
So on the
and this
north,
building?
on the north, this is I believe our engineer designed it right to the setback requirement. I believe that's 10 feet. This is 25 feet. And there's a PUE running through this, and that's part of why it had to. be
Okay.
closed.
So having dealt with fire turnarounds before, the fire department has reviewed this
Mhm.
for that, okay, because I'm
Yeah.
not seeing an access of,
Yeah, the fire marshal has reviewed it.
okay, I just want to make sure, because I don't see a drive-through access. And a lot of times they'll require that in the back.
And
so.
one thing to note, we're trying to do this nice. We're gonna pave all of that, even all the rear yard space.
Get rid of the
We want-
weeds,
we want
thank
the
you.
Whole thing paved, look really clean and nice, and then each of these units will actually be fenced individually. So there will be a fence at each unit. So that will all be their own private yard space.
Signage, will they have to, each one of them, if they want to come and do a sign, will they have to come in to the city? And I would assume
For,
a small monument thing would be about the only thing out on this main road.
yeah, I
right?
mean, there hasn't been anything proposed yet for signage. If they wanted to do a complex sign, for a multi-tenant, they could apply for that. I'd have to look at the requirements for the zone, make sure that
What
some,
else?
some zones require a conditional use for that type of a sign, some don't. But each
no
as
flags.
each individual unit is occupied, they would have to do a sign permit.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, just want to make sure there was somewhere way to meet the sign ordinance.
Another thing that I was gonna mention that they corrected was they had a third access here off of Parkland that, was not allowed due to the amount of frontage. They're only allowed 2 driveways. So Jordan took care of that and was removing that.
Yeah, that's been, and she has an update, it just came through.
Yeah.
Today, that's been closed off. And this area right here's been modified to allow entrance through there. We removed the garbage enclosure from there. So that we meet that code standard of just 2 accesses off the
Okay.
corner.
Question for you, and maybe it'll go back and forth, but in the staff notes, it talks about subdividing. So we're not subdividing it, but will they have to come back to us again if they're gonna subdivide?
Yeah,
it?
if they wanted, because Jordan's kind of gone back and forth with, whether to maintain ownership of the whole site or whether to make it a condo type unit. We're right now just approving the site plan.
So let me ask you guys.
That's why I just wanna make sure where we're sitting on.
Yeah, so we just did this in Far West, and what I'm finding is that it isn't always the same at each city. So we originally had our engineer design this, and his recommendation, and he had done other projects in Parkland, was to do this as a commercial PUD. We assume engineers know everything, so we said, okay, that must be the way to do it. And the reason for that is we wanted each unit individually platted so that these could potentially be sold and not only owned or leased by us. When we submitted that commercial PUD, it got denied because it was under
3 acre
in your
minimum.
code, it requires a 3 acre minimum
Minimum.
for a
Mhm.
commercial PUD. So we went back to our engineer and he said, well, we can just condominiumize it then, and that will do the same thing, and then it won't be a commercial PUD. And so we've now submitted it as a commercial, or as a condominiumized plat. And our engineer said that should meet all of the standards to allow us to condominiumize each of the units. We've submitted it that way, maybe it hasn't made its way through the city that way, but that's our hope and our intent would be to go that route. It's allowed. And the sole reason is this. What we're finding as we're developing projects like this, almost all of these projects tend to typically be owned by the developer landlord and only leased to tenants. They don't get an opportunity to own their units. We're finding that there's a real gap in the market of people that, you know, small trades companies, they want to own their own real estate. And so we wanted to condominiumize it so that we could sell off individual units versus us just owning the project and lease to tenants. So I don't know all the rules. I guess that sounds like that still is up for discussion, but that is our intent, was to condominiumize it.
Right, and
And so how that is a workaround with the commercial PUD, I guess we'll have to get the right people involved to
yeah,
understand.
so we're looking into that, but but for tonight, it's
It's
the site
just-
plan.
It's a site plan for the,
And that's fine. If
I just
we-
wanted to make sure we were clear and
If,
not,
if we need
stuck
to
on-
come back and work through that, that's fine, and we're gonna do the project, if we have to do it the way that you're saying, where we own both buildings, we'll do that. But our preference would be to be able to condominiumize each unit individually.
yeah. Okay. Other questions for staff or the petitioner?
When we're talking screening there, Jason, are we understanding a masonry fence between the commercial residential interface?
We do, yes,
Yeah,
Tammy's explained that to us, we're prepared to meet the standards of the code.
To further on that, so between the mobile home park on the, it would be south, of course, that would be a masonry fence, or cement or masonry. What about on the west, that backs up to the pond, the Weaver County pond area?
Anything in this one?
Yes.
As far as I understand, that would just, what our preference would be is to likely have the fence that's already intact going around that entire project already to remain. If that's not allowed, then I assume that it would need to follow the requirements of the MCM code for adjacent to a non-residential use, because that's not a.
right, and the
residential
only thing that that specified it had to be a masonry or concrete tilt wall was if it was near or abutting a residential zone or use, and then also the screening along a roadway.
So a park or open space, I know that's not park or open space where that pond is at this point.
Yeah.
but
At this point, that's,
Yeah,
we
at
can only do it with what it is at the
Yeah.
time.
Okay. So those were the clarifications that we, with Jordan, and they've complied with that, so.
Any other questions for the petitioner? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks. Tammy, does this need to be, that's
It's a
not
public hearing.
a public hearing,
Mhm.
okay, it's administrative. All right, since this is a public hearing, we have a motion to open the public.
I moved the motion, I moved to open the public hearing.
John's made a motion to open public hearing for the second by Chad. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? We are now in a public hearing for this topic of the site plan at 2747. Do we have anybody in the audience that would like to address this or speak to this item that we're discussing? Okay, seeing none, we have a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion to close the public hearing?
Jeff made a motion to close.
I'll second.
Dean second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we're now closed, open for discussion or action. And Brian, don't forget, it's your number 7 tonight, so make sure you're voting
Good.
with us.
Yeah.
Okay, no items. The only thing I would remind, since some of this paperwork just came in today, that we approve with the recommendation. If someone wants to approve or deny or table it, it's with the recommendation that gets a chance to finish approving the items that they had requested for the DRC recommendation. So give
And
would-
staff's recommendation is to approve with those
with the
conditions
conditions, that's what I
instead
say.
of
So
instead of tabling.
just
but-
give the options.
yeah.
Everybody has the option if they want to table it, but I'm just saying if we want to approve or deny, and then we, with the condition that staff gets a chance to review it, and then the staff can always send it back to us. You want to go for it?
Go ahead, yeah.
Do you want to? I could try.
You'll do fine.
So I will motion for the approval of item 4A for the site plan with the staff recommendation on all corrections and comments to be addressed at the final approval by DRC. Does that get your?
And, yep, and you're recommending approval, so we're, 'cause
Okay.
we're recommending body, right, on this?
So the rec-
No, we're the
Or
approval.
we're the
body.
approval,
Uh-huh.
okay, I just double check that's me.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Thank
you
sir.
got it right.
Okay.
Okay, we got it.
Good job.
Chad's made a recommendation that we approve the site plan for 2747 with the DRC staff approval of items that have been noted. We have a second?
I'll second.
Okay,
Who-
David
who did we
seconds.
take?
I think it was.
David, yeah, David second.
David,
Any,
okay.
David second, any you can get me going. Any discussion on the item? Any thoughts?
No.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, it's unanimous. And for the record, I didn't give a chance for the recorder. John, Jeff, Andy, Dean, Chad, David, and Brian are in attendance for tonight. Now that'll help that out. So thank you. Hopefully that gets you started. If you'll work with staff to finish up those, we'll get you moving forward on that.
Can I just ask one quick question?
Sure.
On the condominiumized part of it, you said come back, I'm just curious what that process, as we work through that and review that, what would that look like to get that portion of this added to?
It'll require planning commission approval too. It'll be basically just like a regular subdivision process.
Yeah, that's why I was asking, because you couldn't have even asked us right now because it wasn't noted as that, so we wouldn't have been able to address that tonight. So it'll probably have to come back to us again. That's why I just want to make sure that was clear
Yeah.
between us, that what were we doing tonight?
Okay.
Okay, we have just a few minutes. Is there any commission business, anybody from the commission that needs to address anything? Okay, staff, anything for tonight?
Don't have anything new.
No.
Next
way.
meeting, May.
That's what I was just gonna have my
Seventh.
next question. So May 7th, so that's the first of the month. I think we're back to regular.
We
first
should
of
be
the
back
month
first of the.
For the rest
first
of the year. I
month.
double check my calendar.
Yeah. I can't think of any others that we, except maybe July.
Yeah, I don't look at that one. Okay. Can't remember. Oh, was it? No, because it's, the 4th is like a Saturday or Sunday, so I just assumed we would meet the first of that week anyway. It's like the first or second.
Would be the
Okay.
second if we do.
So May 7th, June 4th. July is the 2nd. I think we
we should be okay.
pushed it to the 9th.
Oh,
Yeah.
did we?
I think so.
That's what
'Cause
I'm
it would
showing.
be
Okay.
the weekend of the 4th.
That
So,
works. Okay, Sarah, any exciting news as a super citizen slash representative from the council? We would love to hear if you have anything. We still have our Founder's Day on schedule. Okay,
Sarah.
come on, we like it when you come and visit. We got 2 minutes. We can get a quick update or anything that we should be aware of.
Sarah Erie, where it is. So last city council meeting, we talked in depth that we've started a new way of communicating, or not a new way, we've added an additional way to communicate with residents. We put it in our newsletter. We also put it out on social media. We provided a QR code. Please scan it. register it. It is a texting service in lieu of sending the newsletter to people who don't receive a utility bill by mail. We don't send them a newsletter anymore. Now, this is the way that you're going to sign up. Unless they, unless you receive your utility bill, you're not gonna get a newsletter anymore. If that makes sense. So it's SMS texting, it's a texting service. It's called,
Constant
oh boy,
contact.
thank you, Constant Contact. And so we're going to, put out information about events, about, water rates or anything, a public hearing, have you. We're also gonna do called PV in a minute, where I don't know if you ever watch on social media, the county commission, they interview different staff members and they talk about certain things. And so we're gonna do PV, the PV minute where we talk about different various topics, and that will be put out on that and also reposted on social media and our website as well. So you'll want to sign up, encourage your friends and neighbors to sign up. It's easy. And then when you get the text, to opt in. And so it's actually saving the city a little bit of money because we did a very cost analysis of what it costs to send out the newsletter to those who don't get their bill by mail versus doing this. And so we're saving just a little bit of money. It's not costing us any money. We're trying it out and seeing if this is something. So we've had about 100 people sign up, not a lot. We have quite a few households, so sign up, just try it out.
Sarah,
We're not gonna overburden you, yes.
you mentioned, public hearings will be on there. We'll,
That's an idea. I'm
Oh,
not
okay.
guaranteeing
and
that
I
that
was
will be
gonna,
out there.
I was gonna follow that up with our, like, planning commission agendas, would that be, or city council agendas, but that's all.
To tell you to go to the website. Hey,
Yeah.
there's some more information and stuff, because it's meant to be quick, informational, and non-burdensome. So we're not gonna make this a lengthy text. It's gonna say, hey, new information here, or whatever, and take you to a link to preferably the website. But it will also be a lot of this will be posted on social media too, or the link to the website to take you there. We're trying to get people more active on our website since you're paying for it. It's a nice website, it's great. You might as well use it. And so that's kind of big, that's big news. Andrea and it's in the plan, although we have to talk about being able to pay for it in the works of a comprehensive general plan update. Andrea did mention that, and then that Tammy, Andrea, and Sean met with WACOG, correct? Or
Wasatch Front
Regional Council. But Sean and I talked since then, and also I would love to be a part of that too. I already talked to them about that. But anyway, being the steering committee, but be a part of the steering committee with that. But that's really big. And when we have to have money in the budget to pay for a lot of those things.
Yeah, it's just a first step in
So-
working on reading the general plan.
Yeah, but so just initiating it. So we'll see how long that takes, when that's coming, whatever. So that's kind of big. Also, the state legislature put out a new initiative. I'm sure you're aware of this, not initiative, a new bill saying any city over 5,000 people must now allow detached ADUs
Come
And-
October.
by October. So we don't get a choice anymore. So now, but cities have the right and the responsibility and the opportunity to create what that looks like. And there are certain provisions within the bill that I'm sure that we have to follow, but probably a lot of the things that we can control is setbacks.
And that did pass.
Oh,
Yes.
yes. So we have to
On-
allow detached ADUs.
On lots over 11,000 square feet.
That's something that Lori and I were talking today, so that's good to know.
Yeah.
11,000 square feet, so not everywhere in our city, but quite a bit.
Oh, yeah.
And so
Most
that
part.
will also require us to look at flag lots, because you can have a detached ADU in your backyard, so to speak, that's not related to you. We don't allow flag lots in our city, so that will have to be addressed as well. Our capital facilities plan is based on one dwelling per, acreage, so that will have to be addressed as well if we are gonna double. If we have an RE20 and here's this division, all of a sudden now RE20 gets to have double the amount, that changes our capital facilities plan. And so there's a lot coming up, and there's a lot of expenses coming up that frankly, we don't have the money for, but we're gonna have to do it because we've been mandated to do it.
The good news.
Okay, so we formed a committee-ish, not officially, is to look into that of detached ADUs and how that would look like. You know, just kind of, we talked about that at city council on Tuesday.
You did get a committee for that?
We didn't officialize anything, we just said,
Okay.
oh, I wanna be a part of it or whatever.
They do, I wouldn't mind.
Oh, yes,
Send
and I
that.
think, I think.
We
that'd be
definitely
great.
want to involve
Planning commission.
planning
And
commission.
planning commission would be part of the stakeholders as well, and if you have two council members in planning committee, two planning commission, that's not a quorum, so we're good, we're from different bodies.
Yeah, I just,
So, planning commission will be involved if we, you know, if we find the funds and things like that. Move forward with the general plan update, with the detached ADUs, that's coming too, and we had and the mayor was responsive to her, I don't know how far this will go, we had a lady came and talked about how she would like to see houses being able to be rented out, like what downtown Ogden does,
Hotel.
a hotel. We'll call it a hotel,
Room
but it's
rental.
not a hotel. But, and he was responsive to her. That doesn't mean we'll do it and stuff, but that, you know, just some of that conversation of she wants to be able to rent homes with 4 different individuals or families or what have you, rather, and not have necessarily have it owner occupied.
next to the mayor's house.
Yeah, actually, she lives by him, so. Anyway, but that's not a given. I'm just telling you some of the conversations that was a big meeting as far as, whoa, impact. Secondary water requirements. So now those are being metered, and one of the things that they've told municipalities now, so that municipalities, so people living in the city won't use culinary. We have to now go through our fee schedule to make culinary water more expensive to use than secondary, so that will be a deterrent.
But if you use too much of the secondary, then they
Then
shut
they
it
shut
off
off.
and send you a.
So that's one of the requirements too. So our public works team is going through water rates and doing that so that people don't just say, well, fine, I'll just use my culinary water to water things.
So
Even
how
though
do
that's against the law.
How do you fill your pool without bankrupt?
I don't know, because there's a lot coming up. I mean,
I do.
Yeah, that would be my concern.
You know, in talking with our recorder today, just briefly and stuff, Pleasant, we always have a balanced budget. But we live on a really lean budget, and there's not a lot of money this year, and we don't know where we're going to get it. For all the things that we have to do, I'm being very frank with you.
Yeah, I sat in on some of those budgets.
So budget season's coming up too, work with the different departments and that's coming, that conversation with city council. City council is gonna be tasked with making some really hard decisions. Of where do we look for funds to pay for all the things that we have to fund and the things we would like to, there's no one, there's really no one in this situation. So we have to
It's a lot of fun.
look at the
coming.
water tower. We've been living on borrowed time since we purchased that water from Weaver Basin in 2016. And we've gotten extensions ever since then. Now we're out of time. And that water tower on the hill is extremely expensive. And so it's very possible Pleasantview will look at bonding. I'm not saying we will, but that will be an option. So,
Thank you.
Hey.
No, I mean, it's good to know some of that's,
Thursday.
that's good to know some of that's coming,
yes,
because
it's definitely coming.
it tells this group, if we've got general plan on, having lived through a couple of those, that's a lot of work, and there'll be a lot of, not just these onesie twosies, we're gonna now have work sessions that we're gonna have to help go through, there's gonna be committees.
Yeah, there will be
There's gonna be a lot of,
somebody that's part of
Oh,
that
yeah.
helps guide that, but real quick, fun stuff, if you wanna know fun stuff, as you know, it's Pleasant View's 175 and America 250, so the mayor, with the council's consent, is making a coin that you can purchase for $5. On one side, it will have a design that we came up with, well, he and I, you know, on one side for Pleasant View City and on the other side for America 250. It's a nice commemorative, so please buy it. We
All
bought 2,000 of them. Last thing, hang on. And there's a t-shirt contest, please participate in it. It's part of the America 175, excuse me, Pleasant View 175, and there's a lot of events coming up with Founder's Day that will celebrate all of those things. There you go.
perfect.
So volunteering for Founder's Day? How do you-
Planning Commission guess what? You're voluntold to come and help out at the Salmon Bay. So.
That's
uh,
good. My wife has actually said that, well, you're probably gonna end up having to do something.
You don't. have
So
to.
I will volunteer, she said, if you do.
Oh, good, because planning commission is invited, you don't have to, except for Dean, he's required to be there all day long, regardless.
And then we will also participate in the parade. So,
And so Dean and his wife are heavily involved in Founder's Day with the salmon bake and the water slide and the foam pit and all those fun things, so. Yes, planning commission is invited to come help. Usually city council and some planning commission members serve, and, planning commission also helps replenish the supplies and things like that for salmon bake. In exchange, you get to eat for free. And you'll get a shirt, I know.
That's awesome.
Dean and his wife were recognized as our most recent top being good in our city, if you see that.
It was a
For-
major award.
I know.
how did you sneak and find out?
Oh, if you guys don't get on social, it is posted on our website as well. But social media and our website is the fastest, quickest way to get some information seriously in our city. If you want an answer, somebody messaged me, not me, the city, I'm on there, and I answered right away. Sorry, whoever asked about. Here. Somebody asked about where our friend's little West Village was. I answered, but then I wanted a picture and I didn't post it, sorry. But yes, and by the way, to answer that, general plan was amended to allow the density that he's asking for, just saying. You don't have a zone created, but the general plan last year with planning commission and city council was amended.
Okay.
Just letting you know.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you. Motion to adjourn for tonight. All in favor, say aye.
Can we, they had a comment or two, though, I'm
No.
just curious, no?
Want to take comments? Okay, no.
No, the fellow in the orange, I just wondered.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Hi.
Darn.
We do have.